Cool.
Okay, so is it Camden? Is that how you
Yes.
spell it? Yeah,
Yes.
sorry,
Sounded.
pronounce it. So. Camden. And whereabouts are you from?
Yeah, been in Melbourne since 2007, but ethnicity wise, yeah, South India.
That's right. I remember speaking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last year sometime, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much around the same time last year. Yeah. So
Wow.
I
So
had,
quickly, 12 months ago.
exactly. Yeah. I was on a carnivore diet for like 3, 4 months, but I hit like a
Okay,
plateau. So I was
got it.
wondering
All
what
right.
I was wrong. Yeah.
Where we go to from here. Love it. Okay, so the first thing I do, Camden, is I'm going to share a screen with you first. Okay, just bear with me a second. Just going to share a screen. Can you see this?
Yep.
You can see the screen? Okay. This to me is basically the holy grail when it comes to all of my coaching. I created this sort of system to keep track of where my clients are starting, where they're at with the data, and how to make adjustments where possible. Now, at the end of this chat, I'm going to send you this link so you can continue to add all the values as we go along, and I'll teach you how to do that. Okay.
Okay.
So, starting from the top left-hand corner,
Ah,
we want to pop. There we go. I can see you now. Look at that beard. Check
yeah,
out the
that's not
beard.
how we were before.
Cool. We've got the beard couple here. Awesome, man. Did you have a beard last year when we chat?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did. Okay, awesome. Great. So in the top left corner, where it says starting weight, I'm going to pop in your current weight in kilograms. Okay. So what is that at the moment?
One second. It's on the app. So 89.
Hmm. Say that again. It was 89.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
I can hear you now.
89,
Yeah, go. 80,
89.1.
89.1. Okay, cool. So nice. Now, for effective fat loss to take place, I'm assuming the goal is fat loss. We want to try and get our physique to a certain level where you're lean enough and to start seeing more of the muscle. Is that correct? Yeah, you want to get leaner?
Yeah, that's right. Fat loss is
Okay.
so I'm one of those skinny fat. So I
Yeah.
look skinny all over, but we
Clothes
hold
on, you
the
look great. Clothes
weight.
off, pockets of fat everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, we hold the weight in the midsection.
Okay.
Uh,
Now, to establish effective fat loss, there is a level of weight because there is a loss in something that we must establish as being to some degree acceptable because I would rather you lose nothing than lose muscle tissue.
yep.
Okay. Most people are so fixated on collective weight loss without the implications of losing muscle mass. And if you're losing muscle, as you know, when you diet down, your basal metabolism drops down. It makes it a lot harder for you to then effectively drop body fat moving forward. So the rate of fat loss that I like to look at, there is a spectrum. On the low end, it's 0.5% of your body weight per week. It's the low end. So if you're weighing 89 kilo, then we're basically looking at about 400 to 450 grams of weight loss per week at the low end. Now, the slower your fat loss is, the greater the likelihood you're not going to lose muscle tissue along the way. And I've done studies on this that people that lost 0.5% per week of their weight ended up keeping, if not all of their muscle mass during a fat loss program. The challenge is, of course, is adhering to it and being consistent enough to do that. Okay. Now, at the middle range, it's a 1% drop per week. And that's how I set up the trend lines at a 1% drop. And at the high range, as a 1.5% drop per week. I tend to reserve this for those clients who start off with, I guess, a lot more weight to lose. In the early stages on a weight loss program, if you have a lot of weight to lose, that's the honeymoon process we call, it starts to really drop off quickly. So I'm going to set ours as a team. I'm going to set it up at 1% drop per week. Okay, so how we do that, we go 89.1 kilos times 1% gives us 891 grams, and multiply that by 12 weeks, we'd be looking at about 10.69 kilos dropped. Okay,
Mhm.
now what that does, it predetermines, so our weight loss, sorry, my bad, should be the other way around. 10.69 would be here. That's the weight loss drop. And then the target weight equals,
Should be 79.
yeah, 78.41.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the daily drop is basically the total weight loss divided by 90 days. All right. So now I'm going to set this up so that your program officially, I like to start programs from Mondays. All my programs start from Mondays. So come Monday, if you're still weighing the same, you're going to put 89.1 as your actual. And then we're going to set up the goal, and I'll show you how this works. This forecasting line is set to drop by 100 to 120 grams per day. Okay. So every day when you wake up, you're going to weigh yourself. Upon rising, empty stomach, go to the restrooms first, completely naked, you'll weigh yourself. And then you're going to be popping these values every day on the actual column, just here. Okay. Now, I'm going to set up the trend line, which is a downward trajectory. We're going to start it off at 90 kilos at the high end. And at the low end, I would put it at 70, I'll put it at 77 kilos. Now, this to me is a combination. It provides me a visual representation of what the trends are showing over time. So let's just give you some rundowns. Let's say Tuesday, you wake up, you're 88.7. Can you see that blue line just there?
Yeah. That's
So
massive.
the blue represents your actual, and the green represents your goal. Now, weight loss, I mean, weight fluctuates every day. It's very fickle. It's a bit like the marketplace.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's bearish, sometimes it's bullish, sometimes it's sideways. Okay. Let me show you a client who's just finished her transformation, Christina Minto, just to give you a rundown of what hers did over a 90-day period.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So it's gone up, it stayed here. Now, what I don't want to see happen over an extended period of time is this blue line continues to go this way. I don't mind it not being where the green line is, but it needs to be on a downward trajectory over a period of time. Now, this lady started on the 5th of December. She joined me after I'd spoke at the first Carnivore Live in November. She was in the
Oh,
audience and she'd seen Bernadette's transformation and Karen Campbell's transformation. And she signed up, I think a week or two later. We had a discovery call like the one that we had. She signed up 5th of December. Now, we worked together. Her goal was to hit a target weight of 72 kilos. Okay. Now, not only did she get to her goal, but after 90 days, she smashed her goal. She got down to 70.4,
all right.
right? So she was a lot lower on the green line here. And now, where are we now? Now she's signed up for a second 90 days. She's here. Her current weight is down to 66.6. She started at 82 kilos. Could you imagine?
Massive. Yeah. And that's all
Imagine
fat loss. Yeah.
what's that, buddy?
And that's all fat loss. So that's really good. Yeah.
It's all fat loss. Imagine somebody. I mean, let's have a look. I'm not sure where her body fat percentage started. Let me just show you here. Um, Christina Minto. Now, the body fat tests, I use the Navy method, which we'll talk about in a second. So she started uh, at 41.9% body fat, lean body mass of 48, and fat mass of 34.5 kilos. So just remember those values, 41.9%. And now we're down to 26.5%.
Oh wow, yeah,
Okay, it's a massive drops that are happening right here for her.
yeah.
Who would have thought, I don't know what I did there, but I'll fix it in a second. Who would have thought that starting 5th of December, that she'd be here right now? This is the power of us staying consistent with values over time. Okay. Now, let's go back to you. So you'll be waking up every day from Monday and putting these values in on the left-hand side. Now, success is never linear, both up or down. So as I told you, it's going to go sideways sometimes. But what I do want to see over a 2 week period is, and I've set these up for you right here. So starting Monday, what you'll do is you'll write down your weight. You'll put your neck measurement in centimeters. We're using the Navy method, which you can find at at calculator.net. Now I'm going to forward you this recorded video so you can go over this and access all of this at the end. So calculator.net is where we're going to set up the US Navy method using a tape measure. Okay, so you put the weight, the neck, your waistline. You don't do the hips for men, and it will spit out a body fat percentage and a lean body mass and fat mass as well. That's our starting point. Now, come on your first day, you'll also do your photos. Now, I'm really strict on photos, and I need them to be as transparent as possible. So typically for men, it's shorts, no top on, front, side, and rear photos up against a white wall so that I could really discern what I'm looking at. Every 2 weeks with clients, they have to send their photos in, front, side, and rear, because there are 3 KPIs. There's, of course, the weight, which is, by the way, the last KPI, and I've mentioned it first. But the scale weight is one, but it's not the most accurate representation of progress. The measurements and photos. Now, a true plateau occurs only when all of those 3 KPIs have not shifted every 2 weeks.
Mm.
So if the weight's stagnating, but the measurements are dropping and the photos are looking pretty self-explanatory that you're dropping body composition, we make no changes whatsoever. Sometimes the weight will plateau and the centimeters are dropping and you've gone up in muscle mass, particularly women. Okay. Now, other times the weight has dropped so much that if you've lost muscle mass along the way, your body fat as a percentage would go up.
Yeah.
I had one lady, she did like against what I'd suggest, but she went on a prolonged fast, too
Okay.
long, 7 to 9 days, I think it was, because she wanted that weight to drop. Well, sure enough, it dropped. But when we tallied the calculations, she ended up losing muscle along with the fat. So she got fatter by the end of this.
Mm.
On the flip side, I've had one lady go up on the scale and she was fuming. And as we looked, most of the actual weight gain, I think 95% of it was contractile tissue,
Mhm.
was muscle mass. So if I added 2 kilograms to your skinny fat physique of pure muscle over a full year, which is a massive gain for a natural, okay, 2 kilograms of pure, imagine 2 kilos of eye fillet slapped on your frame
Yeah.
over a year. Let's say you're at 22% body fat and we've added 2 kilograms of pure muscle. Even though you're heavier by 2 kilos, your body fat by default would drop down as a percentage,
That's
and
right.
you gain weight. And you gain weight.
Mhm.
So this is the misunderstanding people don't know about the scale.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm preaching to the choir here. You're pretty aware of this. So that's cool. So what you'll do on Monday, you'll put your weight in, your neck in centimeters, your waist in centimeters, and your body fat as a percentage will come out. Your lean body mass and your fat mass. Okay. Once we have that, then your first photos will be on the 21st of April. Your next ones, when I get clients in, are not due until the 5th of May. Okay. And then we go every 2 weeks. That's what we're doing. Remember what I said in some of my podcasts. Clients never do what's expected. Clients do what's inspected.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Honestly, as a coach, I'm more or less a glorified accountability partner, if you really think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah,
So clients pay you good money, and then that does something magical. Number one, it holds them accountable because you hold them accountable. Number two, it pushes them to value what they've just done. They've paid for it, and now they're saying, "Wow, I paid good money for this. I need to really do this." Because
yeah,
if do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's where the magic of the coaching process works. Okay, so that's that. So we've got the measurements in daily, the weight every single morning. We've got the tape measurement method. Now let's have a look. This top section here represents our dietary recall. So, how many days of dietary recall did you take?
it was 3 days,
Three
Monday,
days.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
yep,
So was that the 14th, 15th, and 16th?
that's right. Yeah,
Okay, so let's do that. So 14th of April,
yeah,
15th of April,
yeah.
and 16th of April. All right. So what did we have as total calories,
Yeah. So
Kandan?
I haven't tracked for a long time, so I didn't even realize I've been basically under eating so much. I should be eating 18 to 1900 if you're doing fat loss or whatever, but I'm hitting only like 1000 to 1100 calories a day, and I'm
I love
comfortably eating
this.
the same food every day. And
Uh,
I feel full with this. It's like eating more than this is like forcing myself. So Monday was 1106 calories.
Okay, got it. What was
Uh,
Tuesday?
1197.
And what was Wednesday?
1347.
Okay.
Yeah,
And let's
because
go.
I added.
Let's.
Yeah, sorry.
That's just you added what? Sorry.
I just added MCT oil on the third day because when I tracked on the first days, I realized this is way too low. I mean, 1100
so you
calories.
so so hey, you know what? I mean, this is you are the perfect candidate for this. Perfect. Bernadette was very similar in this regard. She averaged out just under 1100 calories and at 27% body fat, and now she's at 2400 calories at under 18% body fat for a female.
Yeah. For women,
So
18% is really good. Yeah.
oh my goodness, is it good? I mean,
Yeah.
anything under 20% is lean. We're talking
Yeah.
athletic lean. We're talking Olympian lean.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're averaging out of 1217 calories. Let's break up the protein section of that. So what was your protein total on the 14th?
Uh, where do you get the totals here? So if I look in the diary, what does it say? Macro.
Do you want some help with finding out where the protein is?
Yeah. Do I go to nutrition? Oh, there we go.
You,
Uh,
you got it?
yeah. Yeah. So breakdown of macros. Total protein on Monday was 144 grams, 51%.
Okay, so 144.
Yeah.
What was Tuesday?
134 grams.
134.
Yeah.
And what was Wednesday?
137.
137. Brilliant. Okay, let's do the dietary fat and finish up on the carbs.
Yeah. Fat was 56 on Monday,
Okay,
69,
Tuesday, yes,
and 84.
and 84. Okay, and let's do the carbohydrates.
14 grams on Monday,
Yes.
13 grams on Tuesday,
Hmm.
and 14 grams on uh, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, I
Okay.
was even
Uh,
glad I was getting carbs in. I think it must be the protein shake.
Trace cut, yeah, that, and also if you're eating eggs, if you're
Yeah.
taking some dairy, also steps.
Oh yeah. So Monday and yesterday is pretty much in the apartment, so it'll be really low.
Hmm.
Monday was 1,150.
Okay, on Monday.
Yeah. Tuesday was 10,574.
Okay,
And yesterday was 2,338.
okay, all right. So we're averaging. These are our averages in the green below here. Okay.
Yep.
Now, where do we go to from here? My brain is just alarm bells are going off. I mean, I know exactly what to do from here.
Hmm.
Exactly. So I'm here to guide you. Now, the challenge is, as you know, you stated, we are too low,
Yeah.
too low in our caloric intake. So this is the perfect example of metabolic set point or metabolic damage, which is the lack of fat loss, weight loss, disproportionate to caloric intake. Meaning the reason why we're not losing body fat is not because we're eating at maintenance or overeating, but we are severely eating below the basal metabolic rate. And as the body goes, give me less, I'll burn less. Very
Mm.
simple. Give me less, I'll burn less. You give it the food it's getting in right now, and it's that low, it's saying, where's all the energy gone? Where's all the food gone? Okay, if this is all we're going to get, then guess what? I'm going to do the best I can to slow down our metabolism because food ain't coming.
Yep.
Now, now I know you're full because carnivore is incredibly satiating. And I train a lot of women, and this is very, very similar because it's incredibly satiating. They're done and dusted by the time they've hit these marks. So where do we go to from here? Okay, now what I like to do, and all of these, by the way, all of these are just they're really ballpark figures. They're not really. No one truly knows caloric intake. Nobody
Yeah.
truly knows basal metabolic rates or maintenance levels. These are all just I don't know. They're arbitrary numbers, but
Very,
I
very
do.
approximate, but at least it gives us a trend when you look at it. So,
That's right. It gives us a trend moving forward. Okay. So now what I like to do, based on the figures that we've got, is I'd like to find out where your maintenance intake in food is. All right. So I go to this website, which is, where are we? Okay, here we go.
yeah.
tdeecalculator.net. Okay.
Yep.
Now, if you do not know your body fat percentage at the moment, I'm going to give you something for us to do a reference point to find out in a second. But first, we'll start with age.
Yeah. 36. The
30,
37 in August, so I'm not sure. Should we put 37?
we'll keep it to 36. Okay. Um, weight, 89.2, was it?
Yep.
Okay. Height in centimeters,
178.
178.
Yep.
And where would you classify your activity? Would you say sedentary, office job? Would you go light exercise?
Uh, I try to get to the gym about 5 to 6 days a week. That's the only
Hmm.
exercise I get. And
So weight training, you get to the gym 5, 6 days a week?
yeah, and the gym is like pretty much next door to me, so my steps are incredibly low. So I need to get my
Okay.
steps up for that. Yeah. So I guess that's light.
I'll put it at light, okay? Because when I've done the dietary recall, anything under 5,000, and this is my opinion, this is a value judgment statement, but I would classify that as light.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is just share with you um, body fat levels. Just give me 1 second.
I've done one of these eVolt scans.
Oh, did you? How long
Yeah.
ago?
That was in Jan, but I don't know how accurate those are. I did a DEXA last year, but between then
Let's
and now it won't be as accurate. I guess the
l-
eVolt.
let me show you a visual. We're going to start with a visual, and then from there you can sort of determine
Yep.
where you think you might be based on this visual. Okay, so have a look. Can you see this page here?
Yep.
You
Yeah,
see that
I'll
on
probably be 30.
30, just
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
All right, so that's our starting point. Let's start with that. By the way, whilst we're here, because remember, there's 5 stages in a transformation process. Stage 1 is where is my client right now?
Yep.
Stage 2 is where does my client want to be and by what date? So stage 1, let's say we're guesstimating at 30%. Stage 2, where would you love to be? Do you want to be at 20%? Do you want to be at
Oh,
15%? Where would you like to be?
yeah. Between 10 and 15, I guess,
Okay,
is
let's make a goal of 15%.
yeah.
Okay, let's just say it's 15%. So we'll remember that. Okay. So now let's share this other screen again. So let's say we're currently at 30%. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now, based on this, which is the Catch-McArdle formula, it's saying that for a 36-year-old male who's 178 centimeters, weighs 89.2, and does light exercise at 30% body fat, it would have you at 2,363 calories
Just
just to
maintain.
maintain your weight.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to maintain your weight. Now, here's the other number you should know, and that's our basal metabolic rate, which is giving us a rough intake of 1719 calories. Now, keynote to make, massive keynote to make. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Every fitness model I've trained, every bikini model who's gotten on stage, every bodybuilder I've ever got into peeled condition, peeled, we're talking vascularity, just like incredible condition. We never touch the BMR.
Yeah. It should be a bit because it's way too low. BMR
Yeah.
is way too low.
All right. So
Yeah.
if we're averaging 1,200 calories, Kandan,
Yeah. That's
and
starvation
your,
for
my goodness, is it starvation?
Yeah.
And so you not only you're at the basement, you're below the basement.
Yeah.
You are below the basement. So here we have an issue. Now, the challenge is how do we slowly heal your metabolism by where do I go from here? Do I take more food away to create the deficit? No, we cannot do that. If you're at 1,200, to create a deficit, if you're not losing weight at 1,200, you can't take food away to get you to 900 or 800. You'd be eating like a sparrow. I mean, you're probably eating enough food for my left quadricep. So So from here, we slowly have to heal your metabolism. Now, a lot of my female clients will say, Anthony, but I'm not hungry. I get that.
Yeah.
And most of them, unlike yourself, who does go to the gym, most of them are not training with weights to give that stimulus to raise appetite. But what we can do, though, is increase your steps to raise your appetite. Increase your steps is the first thing I would get you to do. And also slowly add more food over time, starting with a protein goal first. Now, why do I do a protein goal and not a fat goal? Because you've heard of priming before, right?
Running.
Priming is a concept in the carnivore space whereby for a certain period of time, we hypercalorically, we add more calories to through the form of dietary fat, and that tends to create more fat loss. But for the most part, a lot of people end up storing a lot of body fat because the calorie surplus is coming exclusively from fat.
Mhm.
So the first thing I do to raise your intake in food from 1,200 progressively all the way up to at least the BMR. I mean, from the BMR, we would get you up to, for me personally, I would get you to a minor deficit from the maintenance, maybe 10 to 15%. So the 2,363, I would probably drop it down. Now, I haven't seen your physique, by the way. So I usually make these calculations of the deficit based on what I'm seeing visually. If I've got a client who has a lot of body fat to drop, we might make the deficit 15 to 20% below the maintenance. But for someone like yourself who's skinny fat and needs to recompose their physique and drop body fat, I would probably make your deficit about 15%. So minus 15%, 2,000 calories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so in week one, your intake in calories as a goal would be 2,000. Now, guess what? Good luck trying to go from 1,200 to 2,000. We don't do it just like that. We progressively increase it over
Yeah.
time. And how do we do that? Well, the first thing we do now is we have to meet a protein goal. I've got 3 reference points for protein, and I'll tell you all 3 so you know them. And they are variable based on where my client is at on average of their dietary recall. So you're averaging 138 grams. Here's the first protein goal. But you probably know the ones that I'm.
Yeah.
That,
1 gram no, 1.5 per
now
kilogram.
you had it. A gram of protein per centimeter in height.
Oh, okay. Okay. Height. Okay.
Okay, so if you're 178 centimeters, okay, so it's a gram of protein per centimeter in height would be the
Understood.
first one. Now, that's a little high from 138, which is why I give 3 options. The second one is a gram of protein per pound of target body weight.
Okay.
So 179.2, sorry, 79.2, sorry, 79.2 times 2.2 gives us 174 grams. Okay, that would be the other reference point. And then the third one is 2.4 grams per kilogram of lean body mass. So your lean body mass, um, which was we can basically calculate that. Now, let's say you're 30% body fat, you said.
Yeah, I've just pulled up that. I don't know how accurate the e-volt is. If we go by
So
that,
so what did it tell you as far as body fat percentage, by the way?
so visceral fat, body fat, 24.4.
24.4. All
Yeah.
right.
Lean body
So
mass 62. Oh no,
six,
that's the mass. Sorry, that's not the percentage. Sorry. Uh, subcutaneous fat 20. Fat percentage 28.2. High.
okay, so we
Really high.
weren't far off, right? We
You're
were
not
about
far off.
a couple of percent off. So
Yeah.
did you say 28.2?
28.2. Yeah, that's really high
Okay,
for.
cool. So let's say we use that. If we go 89.1 minus 28.2%, that gives us a lean body mass of 63.97 kilograms.
Oh no, that
Okay?
was the percentage. 28.2 was a percentage.
Yeah.
Uh, the mass was different, but it shows here the lean body mass is 62.1
Okay.
kilogram.
Okay, 62.1. Let's go
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
So we take our lean body mass
Yep.
and we multiply it by 2.4 grams of protein. 2.4. And that gives us 149 grams of protein. I round it up to 150.
Yep.
So what I would do here is I would place the protein goal closest to where my client is at on their dietary recall. So we would go 150 here for you. All right. So I'll repeat those 3 so you remember them. A gram per centimeter in height, a gram of protein per pound of target body weight, okay, and 2.4 grams of protein per kilogram of lean body mass. You would choose whichever is closest to your goal, to your current dietary or to your current dietary recall goal average, yeah? So I put it at 150. Now where do we go to from here? Now I would go with carbohydrates first and I would round it up to 15 just to keep it there. Anything under 20 grams on carnivore is trace carbohydrates.
Yeah.
For those listening, when it comes to pure body composition, How you decide to do your fats and carbs to get lean do not matter. Strictly from a body composition goal. Okay, which means this is why I do flexible dieting and everything. But with the beauty comes the beast. If your goal is to get metabolically healthy, then your carbohydrates absolutely matter.
Mhm.
So, body composition, this is why we're flooding the fitness industry with people just giving flexible dieting and whatever and eating everything and anything, every food-like substance under the sun on a deficit. That's why, personally, no, I won't say it, but it is. It's food addiction on a deficit, really.
Yeah, yeah,
It's food addiction on a deficit. People are still incorporating all their food-like substances in a deficit, getting in shape, and claiming that they're healthy.
yeah,
Ain't gonna happen. Metabolically healthy means the quality of the food and the macronutrient ratio breakdown matters. So we're going to keep it. If you're doing keto, 50 grams or less. If you're doing carnivore, 20 grams or less. So yours is set at 15 now. And my first milestone with you is to get, instead of going to 2000, my first milestone, our goal is to hit 2000, but my first milestone with you is to get it up to 1500.
yeah.
So I would set it up like that first with an end goal of going to 2000. Now, if all you did was slowly increase your food but didn't raise your expenditure through steps, we got problems. All right. So this is where the combination of both exercise and, because remember, adding more food raises the metabolism.
Yeah.
Adding more exercise raises the metabolism. People think it actually cancels each other out, but it actually enhances each other.
Okay.
It's a double boost in metabolism. Okay, so we're going to start setting it at 1500 with an end goal to get it up to at least 2000. And you're going to see magic happen now, Kandan. You're going to start noticing, oh my goodness, I'm eating more than ever and dropping body fat crazy. That's what Bernadette was going. That's what Eva Schiller's done. That's what Christina Minto's done. Melissa B's done. All of my female clients and my male clients. Ross, I just finished a 70-year-old guy. He ended up on 2600 calories and dropped so much body fat. Okay. Right. So how do we set the fat? It's very simple. It's the calories, total calories of protein, total calories of carbs, and whatever's left over. So I'll do that for you right now. It's 1500 calories minus, remember there are 4 calories in a gram of protein. So 150 times 4 minus 15 calories, 15 grams. There are 4 calories in every gram of carbs. So 15 times 4 equals 840 calories left in fat. There are 9 calories in a gram of fat. Divide that by 9, and that gives us 93 grams. That's our
Okay.
first stop. That's our first stop, okay?
Okay.
1500, 150, 93, and 15. Total steps, I like to increase it by 2,500 above the average of where my client was at. So this would be at 7,500. This is just for week one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, over time, I would like, over time, we would play around. We would probably keep weeks 1 and 2 as is and just test the waters. The only difference I would do is probably whack the steps a little bit higher. Okay. Get the
Yep.
steps up to 8 to 10,000, ideally 10,000, and sit at 10,000. But for us to start seeing fat loss, it's this 1500 has to keep going up. And we do that by then going to the second highest echelon in protein, which is 170. I believe it's a gram per pound of target body weight, or close to your height anyway. All right. Once Bernadette, week 1, she was on 75 grams of protein. Week 4, she was eating 177 grams of protein, which is a gram per centimeter in height. She's a tall girl. Okay. And the weight just dropped, dropped, dropped. It was just awesome to see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Question is, how do we get in so many calories? It's, uh,
Well,
I
it's a
mean,
micro increment, right? So
yeah,
you're, and the only thing that's going to work in your favor now, to help you both get more calories in is, are you in my school community, by the way?
no,
Okay, so I'm going to give you access to the school community, and your 5 to 6 days a week in the gym, we're going to drop it down to 3 days a week.
oh yeah, that was another thing I was asking you. I guess I'm probably overtraining. I mean, it's a split 3 day 3 day thing I do twice a week, so 6 days. I was
Yeah.
wondering if I should do 3 days in the gym and maybe some sprinting in between, or would that be
Well, that
overtraining?
would Well, what we would do is we would start. Remember, with training, is we need with training. It's not more is better, less is worse. It's precise is best.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I treat it like anesthesia. Really, it's like the dose. It's like precise. We want to try, and I've noticed 3 days a week has been, for the
Best.
most part, most of my clients get the best results with that. And we
Yeah.
do 3 full body workouts per week.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Body. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Full body rather than a split routine. Just for those that don't know this, before the drug culture in the 40s and 50s, even 60s, before the real steroids came in, gyms were only open 5 days a week, and they were open 3 days for men and twice for women. It was never combined. Men train on certain days, women train on other days.
Right.
So men, by default, would go in and just train the full body 3 days a week. Steve Reeves did that. Lyra Colbert did that. Vince Gironda preached that back in the 40s and 50s, and they built incredible physiques, right? So rather than doing a split routine, I'll talk about that in a second so you understand it. But the full body routine, if you understand protein synthesis, the moment you train a body part, you increase the muscle building signal in that area, that localized area. They've been able to measure that with a thing called MPS, or muscle protein synthesis. It is your body's ability to absorb, assimilate more protein than any other time of the day. So if you just trained your biceps on a Monday, the muscle building signal goes up and stays elevated for 24 to 36 hours, and then it drops back down. Okay. So that's the time frame you've got to grow muscle in that localized area. Now, if you're training chest on a Monday, back on a Tuesday, legs on a Wednesday, shoulders on a Thursday, arms on a Friday, the split routine, the bro split routine, well, by the time you train chest on a Monday, come Tuesday, Wednesday, you might still be sore and tender in the chest, but the muscle building signal in that area has gone back to basal levels. Okay, which means that you're leaving, to some degree, 4 or 5 days of gains on the table by not stimulating it again on Wednesday. So let's say you do 12 sets of chest on a Monday, every Monday. International Chest Day is every Monday, right? So 12 sets of chest on a Monday, and you don't train chest until the following Monday. You're better off doing 4 sets on a Monday, 4 sets on a Wednesday, 4 sets on a Friday of the chest. And as you stimulate muscle protein synthesis on Monday, it goes up on Tuesday. It starts to drop off on Wednesday. Bang, you hit it again on Thursday. Wednesday, hit it for Thursday. Goes back down. Bang, we hit it again Friday. So we're getting constant growth in that localized area. Do you understand? Now, the full body workout will create systemic failure, not failure, systemic exhaustion. So it's important to stimulate, not annihilate, because what we lack in intensity, we make up in volume.
Okay.
Okay, so you can't go all out and smash yourself in every single body part and expect to be fully recovered and come Wednesday and do it again. Okay, in the famous words of Mr. Olympia, Lee Haney, Stimulate, don't annihilate, which means you would have to probably train 1 or 2 reps in reserve.
Mm.
You would not go to complete utter failure. Stimulate because you're hitting it again on Wednesday, man, and then again on Friday. The other thing to note, if you've got, let's say, one exercise per muscle group, think about chest. You might do a flat bench press, an incline bench press, and a fly. Okay. But if you've only got one exercise to do per body part, guess what? You're going to probably incorporate the granddaddy movement. Like if you had one exercise for the legs, what would it be? There's only one. Come on.
Squat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you don't have a squat in your program, you know squat about training.
Mm.
So if you're doing squats 3 days a week, the amount of
Yeah.
anabolic cascade you create
Yeah.
is second to none.
Squat 3 days a week, I feel, is like excessive. I do two leg days a week because it's split in 3 days. So that
Yeah,
that itself is pretty tiring. And yeah, 3 days would
there
be
you
excessive.
go. But
Yeah.
remember, we're doing 2, maybe 3 working sets. We're
Yeah.
not really going as hard as we are.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe we can break it up, and maybe day one might be squats. Day two, we might be working the posterior chain, and, we can play around with it. It doesn't always have to be squats. But what we're saying is we're stimulating it every 3 days or every 2 days, and that changes everything. Now, the drug culture is what created the split routine. Why?
Because they
Because
can recover faster with their drugs. Is
they
that
recover faster with their drugs. But here's the biggest reason. The biggest reason is when you inject yourself with androgens like testosterone, that keeps muscle protein synthesis elevated 24/7.
oh, okay.
So your ability to assimilate protein goes up and stays elevated for 5, 6, 7 days. So to a natural, they must rely on the workout to create muscle protein synthesis. Whereas to a drug user, they train chest on a Monday, use drugs. Wednesday, Thursday, their chest is still growing because the protein synthesis signal stays elevated. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Oh,
So that's why they can train with a lot of it, with a lot of volume on a Monday, 12, 16, 20 working sets. Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do 20 sets per body part. Okay. But number one, you can recover. Number two, the muscle protein synthesis signal stays elevated, that by Thursday, Friday, your chest is still growing. That's the difference.
right.
Okay. So what I would suggest is to do 3 full body workouts, choose a muscle group, choose one exercise per muscle group, keep it compound, keep it multi-joint movement. So for the back, the way I like to break it up, because the back has different movement patterns, maybe day one we focus on a vertical movement pattern for the back, chin up or a pull down. Yeah.
Right.
For the second workout, maybe we focus on a horizontal movement pattern, a row of some kind, chest supported row, bent over row, seated row, some horizontal moving. And then the final one, maybe we'll focus on a deadlift or a hip hinge movement of some kind, rack pull. So now we've hit the back 3 days, but we're focusing on different movement patterns each time.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you create structural balance with your workout. That's how I do it. All right. So
Yeah.
now we've gone from 6 days a week into 3 full body workouts per week. Okay. And we've bumped our steps up from 5,000 up to 7,500 for week 1 and 2. All right. And then we see what the scale does and what the measurements and photos does come 5th of May. This is where the coaching process takes place. This is where I take over to, I guess, places that clients just don't know where to go to from here. And they plateau, they come and see me, right? So that's what happens moving forward. All right. So this is your structure. This is your start. On Monday, you are to weigh yourself and take your photos. And then from there, Every 2 weeks, we make adjustments, but your success will lie in your ability to eat more food and move more.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Awesome. Let me stop sharing here.
Cool.
All right. It's question time now. Any questions you want to ask me?
Yeah, Anthony. So the only reason I'm doing 5 to 6 days a week now is because I like to maintain that routine. If I give myself a bit of flexibility, like one day off, this that, then I'll just fall off a cliff. I need to do that routinely. So if I'm doing this 3 days a week, is it all right to probably is running too much? I mean, I don't run, but like sprint in between, is that too much on the system?
I don't think it's too much. I think it would help raise appetite
Hmm.
because one issue you've got is you just can't seem to fit more food in. And if we throwed, well, a couple of reasons. Number one, appetite would go up,
Yep.
and number two, um, visceral adiposity. If you're carrying a lot of visceral fat,
Yeah.
sprinting is, I mean, profound for fat loss.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you drop a lot of body fat from sprinting. Where I would just question it is we would have a look at carefully monitoring that based on your recovery from your workouts. Just think about it. If you're doing 3 full body workouts and then adding 2 or 3 sprints per week, in essence, you're still training lactate 6 days a week.
Yeah.
It's equivalent to you if you're doing legs 3 days a week and now you're throwing sprints on top of that, especially if they're like proper sprints, then you're
Yeah.
training your legs 6 days a week. So just be cautious of that. Whereas the steps, where the steps work is number one, they don't tax you of a lot of energy. Number two, you're oxidizing almost exclusively body fat because body fat is highly oxidative. It requires oxygen to burn. Sprinting is glycolytic, which means you're not going to be burning body fat during the workout. You burn the body fat after the workout, which is fine. Raises great hormones for fat loss. But where sprinting doesn't win hands down with fat loss is the hunger. Hunger goes up exponentially on sprinting, and so too does the systemic fatigue. So if I'm going to be fatiguing and I can't go into the gym and do a workout because I'm just too drained, I haven't got much fuel, guess what's going to go? The sprinting. Where I would incorporate it now is to drive your appetite.
Mhm.
So the answer is long-winded answer. I would say keep the sprinting in, but monitor it based on your energy reserves and how you recover.
I'll probably just try like an early morning walk instead in between,
Nice.
because if I don't get up and do that, then I'll just stop, because I need to do that 5 6 days a week. Otherwise,
Of
uh,
course.
yeah. So
And
I'll just,
always remember, Kandan, there is never failure. There is just feedback.
yeah.
If we have some structure, like if we follow a structure, then we can make adjustments where necessary. Where most people just get lost and helpless is is when we don't have any battle plan. Here's a keynote to make. You can't manage what you don't measure.
Right.
Without a detailed plan of attack, where do we go to once we experience a plateau? Okay, 5 stages in transformation. Stage one, where is Kandan right now? Where am I now? Where do I want to be and by what date? We've done that already. 15% body fat. Well, 20% until we get down. By the way, I didn't predict how much you would need to weigh based on being 15% body fat. For those that want to know, it's lean body mass divided by 1 minus ideal body fat percentage. So what was your lean body mass? 63, was it? 61?
Yeah. 64.1. Yeah. 64.
64.1, okay, divided by 1 minus, remember, 15% body fat, 1 minus 15% is 0.85. So 1 minus 0.85, okay, so 63, was it 64 kilos
Yeah.
divided by 0.85? That's what you'd need to weigh.
Yeah. 75 is ideal. Yeah.
75 kilos. Now, ceteris paribus in Latin means everything remaining constant. Meaning, if all we did right now was added no muscle mass, which won't happen, and all we did was strip away all your body fat to be 15% body fat, you would have to weigh 75 kilograms. Typically, what tends to happen, especially if you're a newbie at this, is you will start gaining some muscle mass and then subsequently losing body fat. And then so we end up getting to 75. But perfection is never a number, but that's the ballpark figure. All right. So
Right.
you got your work cut out for you now. So,
Yeah. I was wondering how to get up to like even 1,500 calories. You just gotta start drinking like olive oil or yeah, 15 m.
yes, and I would recommend to raise your. Remember, we said first to get the calories up, we want to try and get them with protein, not fat,
Yeah.
because you bring a sluggish metabolism that's burning at idle speed right now, and you throw in uh, high caloric macronutrient like dietary fat, which converts to fat much more efficiently than protein does. So the first thing we do to drive up your caloric intake is through protein.
Hmm.
Why? It has a higher thermic effect than any other macronutrient. It's a dietary hack. Have more protein is a 30% up to 30% increase in what we call dietary induced thermogenesis. 30%, meaning in 100 calories, 30 of those calories, the body breaks that down to digest the food. Okay. So that's what I'd recommend first, which is the caveat to that is it's number two, incredibly satiating. So number one, we're trying to limit fat gain by adding more protein. But number two, we can't add more food, man. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I would always play the safe game with you because I don't know how long you've been under eating for.
Yeah, this past 3 months back on carnivore, but it's been strict carnivore. This is basically this is what I've been eating every day. But I think I've also been having a lot of coffee these days, so that
That
just
suppresses appetite.
yeah. So I'm just eating 2 meals now, and I feel
Mhm.
full with just 2 meals. But I guess we'll slowly work on that. And another
If
thing,
you can
yeah,
go
sorry.
on. I'm
Oh,
saying if you can first meet your lowest echelon in protein at 150 grams, then the next thing we would do is slowly add more fat, maybe in the form of butter, cream, olive oil if you're using it, or MCT oil of some degree. Anyway,
yeah.
continue. What were we going to ask me?
Yeah, another thing I was doing is I was training fasted in the morning because
Hmm.
there's all this talk out there about uh, you're burning fat stores if you're training fasted and all of that. Then I usually train like yeah, like legs one day, chest and back one day, arms a day, and I do supersets. So it is like a bit intense, but I don't feel too. I don't feel like there's lack of energy. Energy is there, but do you think you should continue training fasted, or is that not a great idea?
Well, if some would say if you're waking up and you're not hungry, and then you've got visceral adiposity, it might be a cortisol management issue.
Hmm.
So maybe what I would do to play devil's advocate, I would experiment with trying something different. Maybe have a meal. Why? You know, cortisol is the number one nemesis for a naturally trained athlete. Cortisol is. You've got muscle protein synthesis and you've got muscle protein breakdown. Okay. Cortisol, this is the mTOR pathways. Okay. The mammalian targeted rapamycin pathways versus cortisol. The goal for you to pack on muscle is to raise the bar of MPS and limit protein breakdown, right? Now, when you're waking up, we've got the cortisol awakening response, known as the dawn phenomenon. So cortisol is going to be up. And if you go and combine that with a workout, we're going to ramp up cortisol even higher, okay? And we're going to offset protein synthesis. So to play around, number one, you've been doing that for so long, it's not getting you results. So maybe I would probably change it up a little bit by maybe having something light before training. It doesn't have to be a full meal. That might be a protein shake. It could be something light, man, like a couple of eggs or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing to note is the mTOR pathways are heavily affected by insulin. Why you get some of these carnivores, including myself, that incorporates carbohydrates around training, namely from dairy. And if I really don't want to be carnivore and hand my carnivore card in, I would probably surround my workout with dates.
Mm, mm.
Okay, I have them around training to all my carnivores out there. Yes, I am animal based, but I structure my carbohydrates when I'm going to use them most. And I can tell you, you'll notice a big difference by eating before training. Okay, typically half an hour, and then go out and do a workout. Now, some clients, I've had clients that will do like a milky latte. They'll get the caffeine hit and they'll get a nice dose of carbohydrates from the dairy, like, 20, 25 grams. And by the way, it's no more than about point point 0.3 to zero point 0.5 grams of carbs per kilogram of body weight.
Okay.
So zero point 0.5 times 89, yeah, I would say zero point 0.3 times 89, about 26 grams of carbs. Okay. I would do like a milky latte if you don't want to get the carbs in, but in another sources and keep it carnivore based. Get your caffeine hit, your nice milky latte in there, and then go and do a workout.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll try that. We'll probably do a shot of NCT oil in the morning and
Oh
because I
yeah,
drink oil in the coffee.
rocket
I
fuel,
try
man.
that. Yeah, yeah. So I'll do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rocket fuel.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna send you this recording. I'll send it through to you. I'll also give you access to join the school community because it's for free, and there are a lot of workouts that I've got there on the house for clients to utilize. And then I'm also very active in there as well. So if you want to reach out sometime, you can always reach me through there. Okay.
Cool.
Is
Sounds good.
that cool? Has that helped you today?
Oh yeah, Anthony. I mean, these small little gaps of information, which is what you need. I mean, the basic stuff we get, by listening to your videos and these other podcasts and this and that. But these small tailor-made gaps in information that you need to fill, yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
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 Coming for that Carnivore summit, I will probably catch you there. 26th, was it? 23rd,
That's
26th.
next week. Yeah. Carnival Live's next week. I'll be in Melbourne for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I just had to cough. But I'll be in Carnival Live next week, April 26th at the
Pullman Hotel.
Pullman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll be there. Bernadette will be there. Christina Minto will be there. All my other superstars will be there. We've got a Lean 7 stand as well. So always come in and say hello. And if you choose to come, it'll be great. It'll be a great event.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'd love to see you there, man. Maybe in person.
Yeah,
So,
that'll be good because I've not gone to one of these as yet. I mean, I stay right here in the city and I haven't gone. I missed the last one. They did one.
the one that I spoke in Carnival Collective in Adelaide,
Oh, that
we
was that.
sold out. We
Okay.
sold out. That was crazy. We
Yeah.
had Chafee there. We had Bart K's hilarious. We had Dave Mack there. Dave Mack's going to be there. Bart K's going to be there as well for
Oh,
this
is he?
one.
Yeah.
Dr. Kiltz will be there. Steak and Butter Gal should come. She's coming for round two.
Oh, okay.
She'll be there. Yeah, there's some awesome faces, man.
Yeah.
Some good names in the industry. So.
Yeah, it'll be good to meet some like-minded people because, yeah.
Absolutely, that's the difference. Like having a community, you'll meet new people. I mean, it'll give you a nice burst of just motivation and inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll send you these by email through the email that you signed through, and let's make it happen. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Anthony.
Awesome. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Have a great end of week, man. Bye.
You too. Take a happy
Bye.
Easter break. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.